God is an imaginary friend for adults. Now, before you get all bent out of shape, take a second to think about it. What's an imaginary friend? Well, it's a being that nobody can see, but you believe exists. It's a being to which you speak, and that makes you feel good. That's basically what an imaginary friend is. Now, what is God? It's a being that nobody can see, but that you believe exists. It's a being that you speak through prayer, and it's a being that makes you feel good. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but those two definitions sound exactly the same to me. Now, my goal is not to upset people, not to offend people. It never is. But whenever I talk about religion or God or faith or share my beliefs, people always end up being offended for some reason. I don't understand why, but there seems to be a portion of the religious community who, whenever someone shares beliefs that do not perfectly match up with theirs, they feel the need to lash out or to try to convince that person that what they believe is right and what you believe is wrong. It's okay. I've accepted that. I'm okay with that. I just wanted to once again clarify my goal here is not to be controversial for the sake of being controversial or to upset people or offend anyone or demean religion or God or anything like that. I simply thought of this comparison. I thought it was interesting. And the reason why I'm sharing it is because over the last 18 months, I've had a lot of time to think, and I've come to the conclusion recently that in order to heal, I need to completely surrender. I need to stop, doing this to myself. And one very good way to do that, I'm well aware of, would be to surrender to God. Unfortunately, there are just so many things. There's so much baggage attached with terms like God and religion and all those types of things that it's impossible for me to start using those terms. I've tried. I wish I could because I know it would be easier and it would not offend people like it does when I use terms like the universe and stuff like that. But it's just not something that I can do. With this new understanding or, this comparison that I came up with, it just makes it easier for me to understand what I believe and explain it. So, if you decide, let me put my judgment and beliefs and things like that aside for a second and just kind of go with this. Okay, God is an imaginary friend for adults. That allows you to really create your version of God, to really choose what you want to believe in without being told by other people, by religion, by doctrines, by things like that, what you should or shouldn't believe. So when you're young and you create an imaginary friend, you're the one who decides what are they going to look like, what are they going to be called, how are they going to behave, what they believe, and so on and so forth. And you can apply that same thing to God because in a way, it's pretty much the same thing. It's up to you to decide what you want to believe in. Because at the end of the day, whether you believe it's true or not, there's no way for you to prove that God exists. You have to have faith. That is the entire point of faith, believing in something without having proof. So, to me, because of all the baggage that's attached with terms like God and religion and stuff like that, well, it makes more sense for me to decide the terms I want to use. I use terms like the universe, but what I'm describing is very similar to what people who believe in God, who, follow a type of religion, believe. So to me, the universe is not just the world that we live in. To me, the universe is everything. Everything that ever was, that is, and that ever will be. And it's also that force that governs the entire world and makes everything work. If you look at it from a more scientific standpoint, it's basically like, oh, well, the universe, or what some people call God, well, it's that program that makes the video game run, that has everything running smoothly, that creates the laws of how the universe works. So to me, that's kind of what I mean when when I say the universe. And the more that I think about that and process it, and realizations like this, comparisons like I just made, allow me to better understand things and to kind of adjust my beliefs in consequence. And with this new understanding, it just makes it easier because it's like, okay, I've been kind of thinking about that lately. And it's like, my belief, the universe, everything, that still remains the same. But I am aware that it's more than just like, a disembodied sentient force that just controls everything. It's like, yeah, okay, that is part of it, but sometimes it makes it easier for you to understand and have faith and really connect with that, whatever you choose to call it, whether it's universe, whether it's God, whether it's whatever other term you choose to use for that. Um, it's sometimes easier to do that when you have a physical representation. So that's why in a lot of religions, God is represented as this old man, bearded, white robes, who, is in this clouds and looks down upon us. And it's like that visual image makes it easier for people to visualize that and connect with that. And for me, it's more like, well, I don't really connect with God and everything that's attached with that. I have my own version of that. I have the universe. And it's like, I think of it more as a friend, as a buddy that I get to hang out with that can, walk alongside me and just be there for me whenever I need help, whenever I'm feeling down. He can help boost me up. If I need a little luck, he can, snap his fingers and help make things happen for me. And, he's generally just a good guy who's there trying to help me. And that's my version of God. That's what I call the universe. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. It's like you get to decide how you view that, how you refer to that. So it's like, hey, you could just as easily imagine a 7 foot tall purple bunny named Steve. That could be your version of God. Who has the right to judge you and say that you're wrong in what you imagine? Because it's your beliefs. You get to determine what you believe. And you shouldn't be impacted by what other people believe. And that's why I always find it kind of funny when people get upset whenever I talk about God or religion or faith or beliefs or things like that. Because if you have true faith, it doesn't matter what anybody else says or thinks or believes. You believe what you believe with such ferocious intensity that nothing else can impact that. So if you feel the need to either lash out whenever someone shares their own beliefs, or you feel the need to justify your beliefs, well, odds are you don't have true faith. And I know that some people will get upset by me saying that, and that's okay. Go wild, go in the comment, call me blasphemous, tell me I'm gonna go to hell, tell me that I'll be saved if I accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior. Like, I don't care. That's the thing. What I choose to believe, I believe because I've taken the time to really think, to really explore, to really determine what makes the most sense to me, what brings the most value to my life, and it really doesn't matter what people do or people say. Yes, sometimes it's a little annoying when people are like, hey, you need to accept God, you need to accept Jesus and everything. It's not because like their beliefs are different than mine. It's just because it's kind of annoying when you just get repeated the same thing over and over and over again. So anyway, I just thought it was an interesting comparison when it kind of hit me. I was lying in bed last night and it just kind of occurred to me and I'm like, huh, God is an imaginary friend for adults. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the thing. Most people, when they hear that statement, if they're religious, they're probably going to be upset by this and think that I'm trying to demean their beliefs. That's not what I'm trying to do. It's just a simple way of describing what God is. And that understanding, that simplification, then allows people to go ahead and really determine what they want to believe, what is best for them. So I just thought I'd share that. And once again, I know at this point, it's happened often enough that I know people will get upset because I spoke about God and religion and shared different viewpoints, but that's okay. In fact, I kind of enjoy it at this point. Like, I would never make a video for the sake of being controversial or for the sake of upsetting people or, just to create more buzz or whatever. It's like, that's never something that I would do. That's just not who I am. But because I know it will happen whenever I speak about religion or God or things like that, I'm like, you know what? Let's just enjoy it. People are going to get upset. That's okay. I don't care. Get as upset as you want. That's totally fine. Just keep in mind that if you get upset because I'm sharing my viewpoint, because I'm sharing a simple thought that I had, well, maybe your belief isn't as strong as you thought it was. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll check back in at some point in the future and probably upset some other people for some unknown reason.